For this session, I'd like you to read Ada Limon's The Last Thing. There's also a link to her reading of the poem, so please listen to that as well. And if you read the poem itself, she provides, at the beginning, 3 small images. First, there was the blue wing of the scraggly loud jay tucked into the shrubs. Then the bluish moth drunkenly tripping from blade to blade. Then the quiet that came roaring in like the R.J. Corman over Broadway near the RV shop. These are the last 3 things that happened, not in the universe, but here in the basin of my mind. So here she's preserving these small moments, mostly in nature, as something to recount to someone else who's important to her, something to retell them, right? Or to preserve from them. It's like she's saving these in memory form for that person. So I'd like you to think about her tiny specific images and how their directness, their specificity make them stand out to the reader. She goes on, "It's going to rain soon. Close clouds bloated above us, the air like a net about to release all the caught fishes, a storm siren in the distance." So here this image is like a bloating, releasing caught fishes, the storm siren in the distance, give this sense of foreboding. So again, she uses specific images to paint something different. So in your writing exercise, after encountering the poem, I'd like you to think about slivers of moments that have popped for you, maybe during the day, maybe before the pandemic, maybe during the pandemic. So create a short story, monologue, or poem using these moments. And you may be able to actually hear some blue jays in my backyard right now. And for Snap Judgment, the soundtrack of Silence podcast, I find it really related to this desire to preserve a memory or experience. So in the poem, it's knowing that this memory will be fleeting. In the podcast, this is one in which the subject, it's a true story, is losing his hearing due to this rare illness and some tumors that he has. So here he chooses to savor and memorize songs that have meaning to him because he knows that his hearing will eventually end. So after listening to that podcast, I'd like you to relate this to the theme of our class, or perhaps maybe an illness. So in a writing exercise, think about life pre-pandemic. If you knew that isolation was coming, how would you prepare? What would you savor if you could? If you could pick a memory or a thing to take with you, what would it be? And write this piece in the genre of your choosing. So give yourself at least 10 minutes, but hopefully more to do that. And for your journal related to this, I'd like you to think about the elements in the Snap Judgment podcast as a podcast. So what kind of seems to weave it together, aside from the commercials in it, that work well for you? Is it the narrative structure, the narration? Is it going back and forth between different voices and sounds? Is it the soundscape, music, whatever it may be? Okay? Thank you.